Mm. And I think coaches also give people that time, that space and time. So you've committed to a session where it's all about your one decision that you want to make. And it's almost more about that than about the specific contents that the coach tells you. It's more about you having that space for yourself.
Yeah, I think that's a really sort of important point, because we're so busy very often in our lives that we don't often make the time for ourselves. You know, how often does anybody sort of sit down and think, right, okay, I'm going to spend the next couple of hours reflecting on what I think I need to do. But actually having that time, that sort of safe space and a non-judgmental space with somebody, I think is a really important thing. And I know that, you know, so many of my clients have said that they hadn't fully appreciated quite what a powerful thing that was, just putting aside an hour, whether that's an hour every sort of 3 to 4 weeks, that they're focusing completely on themselves, their own lives, their career, and just having the space to do that. Because we all have good intentions, we all sort of think, right, I must just sit down and do this, but then life gets in the way, you know, things happen, we just don't have the time. So I think just having that uninterrupted time in a safe space with somebody who is not judging can be so important, and can really help people untangle their thoughts and think about what it is they really want to do, so they can walk away with a much clearer idea of where they're going than they might have done if they had sort of sat down and had lots of interruptions or distractions. So yeah, I think just having that, putting that time aside is really important, and it's something that we often don't do.
Yeah, and that's why I am also trained what is called a time to think coach, where it is really about giving people that space to think for themselves. And I see how powerful that can be, just giving people that time where they won't be interrupted and they can just think out loud for themselves. And if they hit certain blocks, I can help them. I mean, that is very similar to what more traditional coaches do as well, but it gives people that space, so that's why it's called time to think, and I love that.
Yes, absolutely. And it is that time to think, isn't it? Because, you know, as I was just saying a moment ago, very often we feel as though we don't have the time to think. We might well do, but very often when we're rushing around doing one thing and juggling lots of different responsibilities and priorities, it can feel very difficult to find that time to think. But I think that unless you do that, unless you put that time aside, it can be difficult to find a way forward at times.